It's Wednesday, the 28th of July, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer. In today's headlines, the ASX hits a new record as investors look beyond the COVID crisis, confident in the global economic recovery. Plus, New South Wales to spend at least another 4 weeks in lockdown, the Commonwealth Bank boss hits out at Apple, and BlueScope Steel reaches its highest share price in 13 years as demand and prices soar. Our lead story today, the S&P ASX 200 hit a new high yesterday as investors shrugged off the bad COVID news to push the market higher. Over the past week, the local bourse has busted out of its range trading, underpinned by the big miners and the previously maligned energy companies. The surge of mergers and acquisitions activity has supported rises as investors hope to buy into takeover targets. So too, the upcoming earnings season, which is expected to feature capital initiatives to benefit shareholders. During the past week, the 20 largest companies on the bourse have outperformed the overall index. The small caps have underperformed, but the main laggards have been the tech stocks, which did so well during the pandemic, and the healthcare stocks. The S&P ASX 200 finished up 0.5% yesterday to 7,431 points. It also hit a new intraday high of 7,448 points. Among the worst performers were a couple of stocks which have struggled recently. The A2 Milk Company can't find any friends and fell 6.3% yesterday and is now off almost 70% over the past year, easily the worst of the top 200. Gaming giant Crown Resorts isn't quite in the same league, but fell 5.5% yesterday and is now lower than where it was 12 months ago. The lockdown news from New South Wales will put pressure on the market today, and so too will the falls on Wall Street and other global markets overnight. But the ASX 200's run is quite extraordinary given how poor the COVID news is. In overseas news, new COVID cases in the US are back above 60,000 a day, and mask wearing is set to be reinstituted across the country. The rate of take-up of vaccinations has slowed, and the Delta variant of COVID is spreading quickly in areas where people haven't had a jab. Globally, there have now been 195 million recorded cases of coronavirus and 4.2 million deaths. Wall Street fell off its record levels overnight ahead of some big earnings results. Tesla reported better than expected earnings yesterday, helped by strong demand for its electric vehicles. And Chinese and US officials are meeting for the first time since March, but it isn't going well. The two sides haven't agreed much on human rights, Taiwan, cybersecurity, or coronavirus. Hopes that the meeting could set the path for a get-together of US President Joe Biden and China's President Xi Jinping are now fading. Locally, New South Wales is heading for another 4 weeks of lockdown after recording its worst day since the beginning of the current wave of the pandemic, with 172 new community-transmitted cases recorded in the 24 hours to 8 p.m. Monday. Of those, 79 were in the community for part or all of their infectious period. 10 people have now died from the current outbreak. Media reports say New South Wales is heading for another 4 weeks in lockdown, though there will be a carve-out for the construction sector. Construction is a critical part of the economy. It employs big numbers of people and has significant flow-on effects. People who build homes kit them out with furniture. The government will also announce a singles bubble so people who live on their own can have visitors. Lockdowns in Victoria and South Australia have been lifted. Commonwealth Bank boss Matt Comyn has criticised technology giant Apple and called for the federal government to regulate its growth in the payment system. Mr. Comyn accused Apple of free riding on the bank's investment, telling a parliamentary joint committee that iPhones were being used for 80% of smartphone tap-and-go payments. Because Apple doesn't let anyone else access the near-field communication chip in its smartphones, the banks can't run their own apps directly to consumers. Mr. Comyn has a fair point, but as the media companies found, taking on the tech giants is fraught, even if you are the biggest company in Australia. The share price of steel group BlueScope surged almost 7% yesterday to its highest level since 2008, after upgrading its earnings forecast for the last financial year. Earnings will be more than $1.7 billion thanks to strong demand, shortage of product, and high prices for steel. Property owners took advantage of soaring prices with residential auction volumes up 81% during the June quarter in Sydney and 51% in Melbourne. The jump from the previous quarter may be the peak though, since lockdowns have cut activity. The figures from CoreLogic Auction Market Review shows auctions in Adelaide were up 94%, 88% in Brisbane, 46% in Perth, and 50% in Canberra. And a couple of comments this morning on the Olympics. Kaylee McEwen is a superstar, even if she did drop the F-bomb on national television. Congratulations on the gold in the 100-metre backstroke. And what's with all the Russian athletes who aren't representing Russia? They're representing the Russian Olympic Committee because Russia has been banned. The RSCs are doing well in gymnastics and swimming particularly. Confused? Me too. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning. And if you'd like more detail and more stories, search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. We also release a daily interview. Today we're looking at green investing and whether it means compromising on returns. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.